Hi guys! Hi everyone! How are you doing today? Well, I'm just gonna come out and say it because I know what you all are here to hear. And that is that I am pregnant. Yes. It's very, very cool to be telling you all, as this is a bit of a secret I've been keeping for few months at this point. So currently I am 16 weeks pregnant and I am expecting to give birth in April of next year, obviously 2026. 16 weeks. I'll be 17 weeks by the time you guys see this, which is 4 months along in normal people terms rather than pregnant terms. Pregnancy math is really hard. So today I thought I would take you through everything, answer questions that I feel like some people might have, and just kind of talk about how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, the future a little bit, just exciting stuff. If you're not a pregnancy baby person, that's totally okay. You can skip this video if you want, but before you do, I'll just let you know, reassure you that I'm not going anywhere and my channel is not suddenly going to become like a baby family centered channel. So I won't be doing like too many videos about all this, but you know, I do like to ramble a lot in all my videos and tell you guys like what I've been up to, so you may hear like little snippets from time to time, but like actual dedicated videos like this, it's not like we're gonna be doing these all the time, so feel free to not worry about that. But for everybody else, I assume you do want to hear about everything. I mean, you're probably curious. I'm super curious about stuff like that. I thought at first I would do like a timeline of everything, because I know a lot of people are really interested in like trying to conceive content and just sort of pregnancy like content in general. So I'll do that and then talk about some other stuff. I'll show you guys some baby stuff I have, and then at the end I'll do kind of an FAQ. I have a little outline up in case I forget stuff, because let's be honest, I do, even though it hasn't been that long, I definitely feel like the exact details kind of escape me a little bit. But okay, let's get started. Let's see. Our timeline. I thought I would talk to you guys about our timeline, because whenever you hear a lot of stories about people trying to have babies, I feel like you have one of two extremes. You either have like, I got pregnant my first try ever and it was super easy and I was shocked, and obviously that happens. I know multiple people who have had that happen. And then you've got the opposite end of the spectrum. That's like, you know, me and my partner have been trying for years. We're doing fertility treatment stuff, etc., etc. And I feel like I just never heard any stories in between. So I thought I would share mine because it's a solidly in between story. So quick background if you like don't really know me. I have been married for 9 years, will be 10 next year. So we'll get to celebrate our big 10-year anniversary with our first child, which is really, really sweet, I think. We've always wanted children. It's always been part of our plan, but because we did get married so young, we knew we wanted to wait a while for me, I had 3 things that were very important to me before we started trying for kids, and that was money, mental health, and space. So obviously being financially secure, having good savings, mental health, making sure I was the best version of myself I could be, and that I felt mentally stable enough, because I've struggled a bit with my depression and anxiety in the past, and that's something I've been very open about. I think it's important to talk about your struggles so other people who are going through that know that they're not alone. And last was space. You know, I've been in nothing but apartments like most young people, but I was really hoping to save up and try to get a house, if not just a bigger place, even though that's probably the sorry, it's like a knot in my hair, like probably like the least important of the 3, because you can have a child in a 1-bedroom small apartment, but I just would like to have you know, have their own room, have a bit of a backyard to play in a safe location. So that was what we had in mind when we bought our house, and slowly been putting away more and more money, because obviously like buying a house is very expensive, so it took a few years to kind of recoup our losses and the savings that we drained after doing that. And I really have been working on myself and my mental health over the last few years, and this is the best I've been. I really felt like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago I could really safely say it's in the past. So with that all check, we finally felt ready, or as ready as we ever would be, because who can truly say they're ready to have a kid? It's a huge undertaking. We finally felt ready about this time last year, so I went to my doctor and I told her that I wanted to start having a family, and she's like, yep, okay, that sounds good. She just suggested that I finish up my current like month of birth control, and I said I was thinking about like doing an extra cycle to kind of get back into my natural cycle, because I've been on birth control for such a long time that I haven't had like a natural cycle where I ovulate and all that and forever. So she's like, that sounds really good. And she was like, a lot of couples get pregnant within 3 months, but it can take up to a year before you should really seek like fertility help. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. So I stopped my birth control in December to start trying in January. So it's going to be my 2026 goal, was to either have a child, a little out there, or at least be pregnant. Much more feasible. I didn't tell you guys this, but it was a goal when I made this video back in last January. I talked about like you know, plans I had for the year, New Year's resolution type stuff, but I did not share with you all that this was my biggest New Year's resolution. My biggest 2025 goal was baby. And you know, things were okay at first, because I kind of had that like 3-month mark, I think, in my mind, which is kind of unrealistic, even though you do hear those people that are like, oh, it took me, you know, my first try. I'm very impatient, so by June, July, as we're approaching like the half point of the year and I still hadn't gotten pregnant, I was starting to feel really stressed out, like, why isn't this happening, and oh my god, maybe there's something wrong. And I filmed this. I am in the middle of filming my July like 2025 recap, first half of the year recap. I don't even know what to call this video or what I ended up calling it, but I thought I would throw this in. You're not gonna see this in July when I post this video, but hopefully I'll show it sometime in the future. But thing I'm really struggling with so far this year is getting pregnant. I have been trying to get pregnant this year, and it was a personal goal for me in 2025 not to have a baby, but to at least be pregnant. But it hasn't happened so far yet, and I don't know why. Could just be bad luck, but it's been really hard. It's been very difficult, especially because other people in my life are having babies, and I'm very happy for them, but it makes me sad for me, especially when I do things like make them baby blankets, and I wish I were making the baby blanket for me. So I sit and I crochet this, and I think about one day I will do this when I'm pregnant, but it will be for my own child. But that day hasn't come yet. It's taking longer than I thought, and it's been really hard for me to not talk about this to anyone, because I'm not talking about it with anyone except for my partner. He's sharing in my struggles. He's, sad but optimistic, and it's been a personal growth moment for us to learn patience when this feels very out of my control. I'm someone who really likes to plan things, and I very much want to be in control of my life, and this is like one of the first things in my life that feels completely out of my hands. And I struggle when things are out of my hands, especially if it's health related. I really struggle and wallow, and I'm miserable. I actually have an appointment with a doctor tomorrow, and I'm gonna discuss my thoughts, concerns, fears to her, and hopefully she'll just tell me that I'm crazy and that I need to just wait a little longer. I'm really trying to turn over a new leaf this month and be chill. I'm gonna go to the doctor tomorrow and hopefully either get some answers or some reassurance, or maybe run tests or something, I don't know. But I'm hoping that with that I can breathe a little bit and let myself de-stress. And I'm hoping that you see this, because I am pregnant in the future, and this is part of some happy, yay, I'm having a baby video. It just feels so far away right now. I think a lot of other people who've been down this journey and who didn't conceive immediately can probably relate. It sucks. Yeah, but fingers crossed for the next few months that I can create a child. Would be great. Alright, yeah, I guess I'm gonna cut this out, and you're not gonna hear this for a while. So I was on my, I think, 5th cycle at this point, because I skipped one, and maybe this is controversial, but I really wanted to avoid a holiday baby. I didn't want a child that would be born around Christmas and New Year's if I could help it. Now, I have 2 very good friends that are born around this time, one on Christmas Eve and one on New Year's Eve. And even though I think everyone tries to make them feel very special and all that, it's just kind of awkward timing. So I thought if I could avoid that, that would be great. So by come July, it hadn't been like exactly 6 months of trying. It was like less than that. It was like 5 months. But about this time, I started having like a bit of a pain, and like near, like, I suppose an ovary. So that, combined with the fact that nothing had happened yet, I was like, I'm just gonna make an appointment and go to the doctor and just like talk about my fears, and maybe they'll reassure me and just get stuff checked out. So my doctor was amazing. She immediately was like, let's do an ultrasound just to make sure everything looks good and see what could be causing that. And I had an ultrasound the next week, and I got to see my empty womb and ovaries and all that. It was very cool. And they were like, everything looks good. They look like normal. And she wasn't really sure, you know, what could be causing me a bit of pain. Like, it could just be like regular stuff. And also, you know, why I wasn't pregnant yet. Like, it could just be that it needed to take more time. But I talked about like tests, like getting my thyroid checked out, because I do have a family history of thyroid problems, and it'd been like 4 or 5 years since I'd last had my levels checked. So she was like, yeah, this is a good time, you should redo it again, and we can just rule that out as a problem. So I couldn't get like a blood work test done for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was quite a while, but the gist was that everything internally looked good, and she even was like, I can tell that you're about to ovulate, and I can tell which side, because one was like bleeding or something. So that was cool. Literally the next week after I ovulated, I was lying in bed. It was a Thursday night. I just remember this very, very strongly. We were lying in bed reading like an old couple, because we love to read, and all of a sudden I was hit by like weird cramps. Very odd. Not like typical PMS cramps. I had never felt anything like this before. I wouldn't even say they were painful, just persistent. It really was very odd, and it lasted like an hour. And it really, like I said, it wasn't like painful. I didn't need like a hot like blanket or something, or painkillers. I wasn't like hunched over. I was just lying there like, this is weird. When is this gonna stop? Now my period is still like 5 days out, very early. And because I had gone through several months of getting my hopes up every month, thinking, oh, maybe this will be the one, and then surprise, surprise, it was never the one. I had told myself to ease my anxiety and my stress over this, I was gonna stop taking tests early. I was just gonna wait for my period like a normal person, and just be a little bit more chill about things, which is very hard to say to me, even though I try to be chill, especially here on the channel. So I was like, oh, it's weird. Still gonna wait. I'm not gonna take a test or anything, because I think like in months prior I would have been like, that means something. Let's take a test. I wasn't gonna do that. Then I fell asleep, and I dreamed. You guys are gonna laugh. I dreamed that my husband handed me a positive pregnancy test. I don't understand the logistics of how he got it without me knowing about it, and that it was mine. How did he do this? I don't know, but you know how in dreams things just make sense, and you're like, oh yeah, obviously. Obviously. Yeah, I was like, well, okay. He handed it to me, and I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's positive. I'm pregnant. Yeah, I know. Like, it just felt right. It was very weird. And also, I had never, ever had a dream like that. Even in the last few months that we had been trying, I hadn't had a single dream about being pregnant. And some people say that there's like a mother's intuition or whatever. I don't know that it's true or not. But I did have that dream that night. So then I guess superstition got the best of me and my impatience won out, and I took a test in the morning. And I was doing my hardest to not look at it. I'm like washing my face and everything. I'm like, don't look at it, don't look at it. Again, impatience won out and I looked at it. And there was the faintest positive you've ever seen. Because again, my period wasn't due for several days. So this was probably the earliest I could have ever known. So was the cramps the night before relevant? Maybe it was implantation, which is when the egg burrows in your uterus, and usually you could feel it sometimes. People say sometimes that you feel it. Never felt cramps like that before, so that could explain it. So Robert is still asleep at this point, or still waking up. I couldn't really sleep because clearly I was too excited even in my sleep. But I just stood in the bathroom and I just shook and was freaking out quietly, having a silent panic attack. No, it wasn't bad, it was exciting. So I went and I wrote a note and I attached it to our cat's collar. And when he came out, woke up, I had some coffee and I was like, sit and have coffee with me before you go to work. And so he sat and was having his coffee, and I was holding our little cat, our youngest cat, and he was like, what is on his collar? And he picked up the note, and the note had said that he's gonna be a dad. And he just was shocked, looking at me is this real? Is this true? And then he was like, when did you take a test? Because as far as he knows, I had just gotten up before him, but I was sneaky. So I came and I brought the test to show him, and again, it was so faint. At first he was I don't know about this. But if you squint, you can tell. I'll show you a picture of it so you can see how laughably faint it is. If you don't look at pregnancy tests ever, you're probably that is negative. But if you have also been through this journey, or you've had a really faint positive, you can probably tell that that is a faint positive. Here's another one in different lighting, and it's a little bit more obvious, but it's still super faint. So I immediately ordered more tests to confirm. I got a digital one, that actually says pregnant or not pregnant, and I got better quality ones because mine were really cheap, and they all were positive, and they got more and more positive the next day and the day after that. So it was definite, but I definitely found out as soon as I possibly could. Hey guys, popping in mid-August with a little update to my July update. It was July, right, that I filmed that last sad update, in which I kind of complained a lot and I just voiced concerns and fears that I had. Well, yeah, popping back in to say that I am pregnant. Just so exciting. I'm so sorry. So it's very early days. I'm only, oh my god, don't cry. Hormones are hitting. I'm only 5.5 weeks. It's very early. I'll say that I found out really early, so it feels like it's been ages. I legit don't know how I'm gonna get through another 7.5 months of this, because the last 2 weeks have just dragged. I'm freaking out. I haven't been to the doctor yet. It's too soon. So I haven't gotten looked at. I haven't done any ultrasounds or anything yet. So the not knowing what's going on and if everything is progressing well is like very scary and stressful. I have a dumb luck optimistic view of things, I think. Last week I did not. Last week I was like really anxious for some reason, but this week I feel very good about everything. I don't know what changed. Speaking of changing, my symptoms change all the time, where like last week I felt pretty rough, like it had definitely hit. Yesterday I felt great, fine, to the point where I was like, oh dear, is this bad? Like all my symptoms went away. Today some are back, so I think they just come and go. I think it just like fluctuates, you know. I'm mainly tired. Very tired, very bloated. Haven't had much of an appetite, which I feel like is the opposite of what I thought. I thought I was gonna be like ravenous, eating everything in sight, and my appetite has gone down a lot. I've had a little bit of nausea, but not bad. So far I've just had a mild tinge of nausea here and there, where if I just kind of stopped thinking about it, it got better. If I thought about it, then I'm going, you know, but this is gonna be probably too much information. I've only thrown up like one time in my entire life. My whole life. So it's not something that usually happens. So I'm not expecting it to happen. So yeah, I do go see my doctor next week. So I just have to make it through the next week and then hope everything goes really well, that appointment. I'm hoping to hear a heartbeat. It's so weird to think about. I really largely just don't feel any different. I just feel like me, but just a little more tired. I am really looking forward to telling everybody, you included, because you won't see this for a while. I'm obviously gonna wait until we're well past the scary time, which should be about October. So you might see this around my channelversary. That's a fun channelversary surprise, even though I kind of stopped celebrating my channelversary. I mean, once you hit 10 years, it's like, okay, what other milestones can we celebrate now? Maybe for 15 years we'll do something cool. I'm very excited. Just trying to take it day by day though, and stay calm. I took some cute videos showing it to like the cats and Leia, being like, look, you're gonna have a little human baby to play with. And they didn't know what it was or care. They did sniff it a lot. I guess it smelled like urine. So sorry. Anyway, that was like 2 weeks ago now. I immediately was hanging out with like friends and family over the weekend, and it was just so weird having this like knowledge but acting like everything was fine. It's very exciting. That's gonna be it for my little like 5-week update. I'll come back and I'll update you guys more maybe after like my first appointment, or I don't know. I plan on doing a few of these little like vlog things to put together for the big announcement. So, okay. Goodbye. I'll check in later when I'm further along. Hi guys, just checking in. I just got done filming my little, I feel like my microphones weren't really even. I just got done filming my channel update, in which I announced that I'm dropping back to 2 uploads a week, and simultaneously announcing my new channel, Jubie. And I thought I would take a minute to film like a little pregnancy check-in. I am about 7.5 weeks now, and I went in for my very first prenatal appointment like a week ago. It was really boring. I thought maybe it would be fun or exciting. It wasn't. It was like they weighed me and took my blood pressure, and that was it. That was the whole appointment. But we scheduled my next appointment, which is gonna be the big one, and it's gonna have my first ultrasound. Also, apparently a lot of blood work. They warned me, do not be dehydrated. You have to be super hydrated, and ideally I think eat beforehand, because we're gonna be drawing like 5 vials from me. Basically we're gonna be testing for everything under the sun, I think. And I very recently did some tests, because I actually had tests done. Did I talk about this already? I don't know. It's been a few weeks since I've been doing these. I was speaking to the doctor before I even got pregnant, and she had me test for a few things like thyroid, PCOS, you know, several things that like an imbalance could lead to wonky cycles or infertility, stuff like that. And then by the time I went in to have the blood drawn, I was already pregnant. So I did get those things tested, and everything came back normal. No issues there. So I don't know if any of these are going to be like repeats, testing for the same thing. I would hope they would just like take those out, but they said it was going to be a lot. I am very excited. I think more excited than nervous. I think I did have some nerves, but I'm feeling very positive. I'll say a lot of symptoms have kicked in this week. Like right at 7 weeks, I was hit by some bad nausea, and I remember thinking like, oh my god, is this what it's gonna be like the whole first trimester? Like, it was rough. And the next day, similarly, very bad. But then the next day, not bad at all. Like, suddenly the nausea was largely gone. Yeah, aside from those 2 days of really bad nausea, I've been doing pretty good. The worst thing was that last week I had a really bad cold. A really bad cold. I talked about it on the channel a lot because I was so sick. I couldn't work, and I'm positive I got sick because your immune system is lowered when you're pregnant. Otherwise, I never would have gotten sick. I think I don't get sick. Last time I was sick was in 2024, and then the last time before that, probably 3 years before that. So getting sick is very rare for me, but I've heard not so rare when you're pregnant, and you should expect to get like at least one cold. I'm definitely gonna have to get a flu shot this year because I can't imagine. It even got so bad that I actually had a slight fever, and that really freaked me out because you are not supposed to have, well, it's really bad to have a fever. It's the same as like if you got in like a hot tub, you basically just don't want an elevated body temperature. Mine never went over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but we were right on the edge. So I think I was okay there, but I was like actually quite sick for a while. Didn't want to work. I was miserable. I just laid on the couch for like 3 days straight. And this week, much better. So that really sucked. Like, getting sick sucks. Getting sick while pregnant massively sucks. Some things I'm like, I don't know if this is a cold or if this is a pregnancy symptom. Like, everything was awful. My relationship with food has been so weird. I've never had such a weird relationship with food before. I mainly just don't want to eat, like, ever. Like, I never, the thought of food is awful. The thought of food sucks. I don't want to eat anything, but I get hungry, and my stomach will get all, like, empty and pangy, which is why I've just been, like, nibbling on pretzels and stuff. Speaking of which, and I feel like I get full really, really fast. I feel like my stomach has shrunk my uterus is grown. Probably. So, weird relationship with food, some nausea. I get tired really easily. I get out of breath really easily. I felt really good yesterday. Good enough to do a little exercising, which I was really good about exercising in like week 4 and 5. I was like every day I was doing something. I was feeling great. And then I got sick, and that was it. And then I haven't felt really great since then. So I've been easy on myself. I've been like, you're sick, you're not feeling good, don't push yourself to do anything, listen to your body. But yesterday, feeling great, had a lot of energy, and I was like, if we're feeling good, let's move our bodies. So I did a little 10 minutes of cardio, 10 minutes, and it kicked my butt. It was so hard. It was like light too. Like it wasn't even jumping jacks, it was like those step jacks, like that. To be fair, I was doing some jumping jacks because she's like, if you feel good, do jumping jacks. Mistake. And then I did 10 minutes of stretching, and I'm really weirdly sore this morning. I've heard that happens, like your muscles get all weird and stiff, and maybe part of it's because I've been more sedentary. But I woke up crazy sore, and I wasn't even doing crazy stretches. I wasn't even doing like splits or anything, which I often do. I'll like sit in splits for a while just to stay flexible. I wasn't even doing any splits, and I was like crazy sore in my arms and my legs. So but other than that, I've been trying to eat healthy, take my prenatal vitamin, practice being like really mindful and good to myself. And very excitingly, I'll be telling my dad this weekend. So far no one knows but me and my husband and my doctor and everyone else at the practice. But he will be the first person to know. I wanted to tell him after I had an ultrasound, and I had planned to have one, and I was supposed to have one this week, but they're so busy they couldn't get me in till next week. And I was like, oh, I'd already made the plans to tell him. I literally was like calling up the office, like, did anyone cancel? Can I come in this week? No. So I unfortunately have to tell him without actually ever seeing anything in there. And then the next week I'd probably be telling the rest of my family. Okay, this is a really long update for 7.5 weeks. I'll come back after I've had my next ultrasound. So I got my first appointment after that, and all they did was just confirm that I was pregnant. I once again had another stick to pee on. Like, they didn't do anything. The one after that was more exciting because I had my first ultrasound, and that was a week and a half later, and I got to see the, not even really a baby at that point, like the little jelly bean, the little gummy bear. And most exciting of all is their little tiny flickering heartbeat in the middle, which you can see on the ultrasound. It's very cool. And they were like, here's the heart rate, and it's just 1. Thank goodness. Not that, there's nothing wrong with having multiples, but it's a little nerve-wracking, isn't it? So just the 1 little gummy bear, and we could actually see them moving. They were like wiggling like that, even though they didn't really have limbs. It's incredibly cool how fast they grow in the beginning. The next week, or 2 weeks later, about the next week actually, I went in and I had a genetic test done. And then the week after that, I had my next ultrasound. This one is the NT scan, if you know. So they're looking at like abnormalities in the neck, and this combined with like the genetic test, which was optional, but my insurance covered it, so I was like, sure. Can't really tell you about if they have any like chromosomal defects or any sort of genetic abnormalities. So every time we had a test, it always came back very healthy and good. And they took so much blood from me. I felt like a pincushion. Every 2 weeks for like 2 months straight, they were drawing blood. It was a lot. So here's how I was feeling at this point. So I just filmed a long Skyrim video. I mean, it's Skyrim adjacent, I suppose, because I'm not playing the game. But I was reading the Real Baron Zaya. I read volume 1 and 2, and that was a lot of fun. Also, Marzipan. She's just stolen my chair, so I can't go sit over there anyway. And Pippin is sitting with me on the floor. But this is supposed to be my 12-week update. Things are good, I guess. Well, I had my 12-week scan and all that, and it was not as exciting as I hoped it would be, because apparently my baby is very uncooperative and lazy and stubborn. So, it's my child for sure. As if there was any doubt. But they were asleep pretty much the whole ultrasound, which is like half an hour, because the lady doing my ultrasound, bless her heart, felt really bad that we couldn't see anything of the baby because they were face down the entire time, away from everything. So you could tell she was really holding out as long as possible, trying to be like, maybe they'll wake up, maybe if we poke around, and maybe they'll flip over a little bit. No, didn't flip over once, but we got the important measurements that we needed. Oh, hello. You have very stinky breath. Yes, you do. Yeah. So we got the important measurements. That's the important bit, was that baby's healthy and isn't flagging any sort of risks. You guys okay? You good? Oh, looking at my computer. But I've been doing very good. I wasn't really feeling bad to start, but I guess like I have even more energy. I worked out yesterday, and then I didn't feel quite like dying afterwards, so that was good. And today I've got more of a normal appetite. That's been honestly one of the biggest things, is that I don't feel like I've had a normal appetite. In fact, I've lost a little bit of weight over the course of the first trimester, which I think is normal if you're nauseous and throwing up and stuff. But I haven't been. It's purely just because I don't eat as much as I used to. So hopefully I'll probably put some weight on after this, which you're supposed to be healthy. No. I still am having a hard time believing that I'm pregnant and accepting it. It doesn't really feel real, because my body has not changed in any way, and I haven't changed much, and I don't feel very different. So it's very hard to make the connection in my mind that the baby I'm seeing on that screen is inside me, and I just don't really feel pregnant. So making things like making little baby booties for them and crocheting a baby blanket helps a little bit, thinking, oh, one day they'll wear this, and one day I'll wrap them up in this blanket. So that's fun. But I'm not getting another ultrasound until my 20-week ultrasound. I have to wait forever for that. That's, it's 2 months away. And so I have no cute picture of my baby. One of my friends, she's about to have a baby, and her 12-week ultrasound was so cute, and you could see the little profile, and it looked like a baby. I mean, here, if you're not familiar with ultrasounds, here's an example. Sorry, Pippin is purring so loudly. It's so cute. Here's an example of a normal 12-week ultrasound. And like, here's what mine looked like. Are you purring? Purring for everyone? Are you excited about the baby, Pippin? You're not gonna be the baby at the house anymore. He's so cute. He's so stinking cute. Okay, I think that's it for this update. Everything's good. Baby's very healthy, and I'm very healthy. I just don't know what they look like because I haven't gotten to see them, and it just looks like a blob. Just a blob. This will probably be it. I don't imagine I will do another one of these little, sorry, against this little bunny. Oh, baby. You two are so cute. I probably won't do another update until I post my whole announcement video. It's been in the works for months. Very exciting. Yeah, that's it. Okay, bye. And I had my last appointment last week. Once again, more blood for another test, but that one I got the results and that was also good. And I have my next ultrasound in a few weeks, and that's like the most important one that you have at the halfway point of your pregnancy, and it's called the anatomy scan, and that's when they look and they make sure that the baby is formed well. And it's also the one where they can tell the gender of the baby. It's not the gender, it's the biological sex, but I figure I'd just say gender because most people associate that. But you know what I mean. I mean whether they have XY chromosomes or XX chromosomes. They kind of can tell within a bit of a margin of error because it depends on how cooperative the baby is and how much you can see. And that is, yeah, that's in a few weeks. So I haven't had an ultrasound since the 12-week one. So I think you guys are all caught up now. I haven't had an ultrasound since that one, that 12-week one. Next one's in a few weeks because I'm like right smack in the middle between them, which is annoying because my 12-week one didn't look great, as in I couldn't really see the baby, and I really wanted that cute ultrasound that like everyone gets. But my child is stubborn. I'm very stubborn, so that tracks. Okay, I think that's it with my timeline. So I can now tell you all that the real reason, if you remember, a few weeks ago, a month ago, I changed my upload schedule and I dropped from 3 videos a week to 2 videos a week, and I told you all it was for like mental health reasons, and it was, but most of that was because I am pregnant and I didn't want the mental and physical strain of doing so much work. Because, as I'm sure you realize or know, YouTubers don't get parental leave, and I have to make my own parental leave. So if I want to take like 3 months of maternity leave, which is about standard, I think that would have been 3 videos a week, 4 weeks a month, 3 months. And in order to make that much content, I would have needed to start recording my maternity leave content pretty much as soon as I found out I was pregnant, which felt wildly premature. So then I thought, well, if I do only 2 videos a week for my maternity leave content, suddenly that's what, 12 less videos that I have to make. That's much more doable. So then I realized that if I did that, I wouldn't have to start until I entered the 2nd trimester. So I made the decision that my maternity leave would be 2 videos rather than 3. But when I started filming them, I already make 3 videos a week. That would have been 4 videos a week. Film, render, edit, upload from my 2nd trimester, literally up until I give birth or go on my maternity leave, which is a lot of extra work. And the mental strain and, like I said, physical, of doing so much extra work at what is kind of a tough time did not appeal. So I thought I should actually probably start dropping down now. And now I have my normal workload, because even though it seemed like I have less work to do now because I've only been posting twice a week, I've still been making 3 videos a week every week. You just don't see them yet, because one of those you're not gonna see for months. So yeah, my workload has been the exact same. Unfortunately, this meant that I took a pay cut basically to have this child, because I'm now missing a third of my, it's not like a third, but I did cut back my views, so my money. Again, a difficult time, so I will probably return to my 3 times a week schedule some point after I come back from leave. I don't know when that will be, but sometime next year. I'll need to make more money. But if you would like to be so kind as to help support me and the baby during this time and during our leave together, I'm gonna start leaving a link to my PayPal below. I don't want to be like, I didn't want to share the baby registry or anything like that, because I don't want people to feel obligated to buy us stuff. However, I know there's a lot of really sweet people out there who might want to kick in like $1 or $2 as like a baby book fund, you know, or for diapers, nappies, kind of thing. So I'll leave that below in all my videos until the end of maternity leave, and all of the money from that is all gonna go directly toward the baby. Like I said, either buying nappies or books or just helping me survive. So if you want to do something that's not just like a one-time donation, you could also become a channel member or a Patreon, and get like early access, recurring monthly, to all my videos. And this is going to continue into my maternity leave, because I still am going to be uploading like normal throughout that. So it's not like I'm going to disappear for 3 months. You're still going to keep getting early access and all the typical like rewards that you would if I were actively posting and hadn't made them months in advance. So yeah, I'll probably push all that a little harder just to help out the baby in any way possible. I don't like begging for money. I just wanted to give you the option in case you wanted to be so sweet as to get a gift for the baby, basically, so that we can buy a lot of books and nappies. Yeah, okay. So speaking of like things for the baby, you might want to see some cute baby clothes. I'm a very gender neutral baby person. I don't buy into the whole pink is for girls, blue's for boys thing, and I also don't buy into like boys and girls should be raised differently. Yeah, so all of my stuff is pretty gender neutral. If there is like pink or blue in something, it means nothing. really just depending on what I like, because the baby's not gonna care, right? They don't care. So let's see, what do I have here? Oh, so this is the first thing I ever got. It's still on the, I still have the tags on, but I bought this maybe a week after I found out I was pregnant, if even that. I just wanted like one thing to make it feel a little bit more real, even though it was wildly premature. Like, I hadn't even had my first ultrasound or anything, but I saw this. It's a little set of 3, but the one I really cared about was this one because I love pandas. Pandas are my favorite animal, and I thought, well, my little baby panda has to have baby panda onesie. So I got one, and it's got like a cute little blue and white stripe, and this one's like gray with flowers. I don't know. I really, like I said, I really just cared about the panda one. So I was like, this will work for a girl or a boy, it doesn't matter, because liking pandas is not a gender trait. I hope they like pandas. So my grandmother took me shopping, which was so sweet of her. She's so excited, as am I. But she wanted to take me shopping, so I don't see her too often, and I want her to feel, part of this. I mean, how often do you get a great grandchild? It's pretty exciting. So here's one of the things she got the baby, which is really cute. So it's a little jacket, and there's a little pants and onesie, and the onesie has like little baby chicks, and this little duck on the pocket is so cute. Oh, and it has a hood. A lot of the things have hoods. I don't know why. So she got that, and then a friend of mine was about to have a baby. All of her baby clothes were like hand-me-downs from her sister, and she gave me a bunch of clothing that was either too gender neutral for her and she didn't want gender neutral, or they were holiday themed, and depending on the time her baby was born, like, her baby wouldn't fit into. Like, for example, here's a really cute little Halloween onesie for next year. So her baby's about to be born now, and it's Halloween right now. Well, it's like a couple days before. So this would either swallow her baby up, or her baby will be too big for this next year. Whereas it should fit mine just fine. Because it says 18 to 24 months. Well, my baby won't be that old, but they probably will be big. I don't know, just guessing. This is so freaking cute. This is really big. It'll be a while before I think we're fitting in this, but it's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love it. Here's a sleep sack. I don't fully understand how these work. I have to figure this out. It's this adorable little one, but see, it's like really long, and I guess you just leave their like feet in it. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Obviously this is all new to me. This is another one. I think it says Hello Sunshine on it. It just keeps going. It just goes on forever because it's so long. And here's one more. It says, "Here for the cuddles." So cute. So she's given me so many clothes already that I feel like I have the entire wardrobe. Like, what else could this baby need? The things that I do want, I'm gonna be making myself. Like, I'm going to be crocheting some stuff. I've already crocheted one pair of baby booties. So I had some leftover yarn in this cute blue and teal kind of yarn, which again, it doesn't mean anything, you know. They're just shoes. I think this is a newborn size that I made. They're a little bit stretchy. But I plan on just making them in all sizes and all colors so that I don't have to pay for baby shoes. I'm also crocheting a baby blanket right now, and that is a very fun work in progress. I have loved working on that. Love, love, love. I'll show you guys that when I'm done with it. Let's see. Once again, I did want to just reassure you guys that I'm not going to be switching to family-based content, nor am I going to do too many videos about them. But I'll tell you guys here and there, you know me, always talking about my life and stuff, always blabbing, so I'm sure you can expect to hear a lot about them. But if you want more like pregnancy and baby updates, I'll probably be doing some more on my other channel, Jubi. If you're not subscribed, you can go subscribe there. Thinking I'll do a gender reveal there. I didn't care about that at all, but I think the old wives' tales are really fun in a dumb way, because they're like so silly. They're like, if your stomach is like high or low, it means a boy or a girl, or if your skin is good, and like all these random things that have no basis in science whatsoever. So I thought it would be fun to do a video where like I tally up like boy or girl based on the wives' tales, and then I tell you the actual baby. So yeah, go subscribe to that channel, keep an eye out, because I'll probably do that in the next couple of weeks. But I thought I would move on to questions. These are things that I get asked when I tell people that I'm pregnant. So first thing everyone asks, do we know the gender? So yes, I found out at the 10-week scan. Technology is so cool now. So it used to be that you had to wait until like the 20-week scan, like I was telling you, and you literally had to look and see if it was a boy or a girl. But now you can find out so early. So in the genetic test I had done, what they're doing is they took my blood and they looked at the DNA, and they were able to separate the baby's blood and the baby's DNA, from my blood, which is very cool. I don't know, I guess it never really occurred to me that like their DNA is like kicking around in my blood now. It's very cool. So they're looking at that DNA for, like I said, abnormalities, and also at that point they can look at the chromosomes and see if there are any XY or male chromosomes in my blood, because I have 2 X chromosomes. So if the test picks up any XY chromosomes, that means you're having a boy. If they don't pick up on anything, you're having a girl. Like, it's very cool, I think. So I found out like a week after I had that test done. So when I was about 11 weeks pregnant, which is, like I said, way faster than waiting till 20 weeks. And sometimes it's not even accurate at 20 weeks. So some people are kind of surprised when they give birth. Some people can even find out as early as 6 weeks. My friend who's pregnant right now found out at 6 weeks, but they have a pretty big margin of error because it's like a test done at home, and it's once again looking for XY chromosomes, DNA, and if you have any male people or dogs in your home, it can pick up on that. So you have to like sanitize a bathroom or something, and like don't let any boy cats, boy dogs, boy people walk in that room for like 48 hours, and then you do the test in there and they tell you. But it could be wrong. It could still be wrong. It could still pick up on that errant male DNA and give you a false result. And also it cost like $100, and I was too cheap to do that. So I didn't do that. And I waited, and the one that you get done at the doctor's much more accurate. So I have no reason to believe that that is incorrect. Did we have like a feeling? Some people have feelings about if it's a girl or a boy. I don't really think we had like feelings, but maybe we did, because we've always wanted a boy and a girl, even though it doesn't matter if we had 2 boys or 2 girls, it doesn't matter. But when we pictured a baby first, we always pictured one in particular. I'm not gonna say which, and turns out we were wrong. But my grandmother, who's kind of psychic, we all think she's psychic, she's had too many like visions about things that came true. She always thought the opposite. I think when I was much younger, maybe like newly married, she had like a vision of me with a little kid, and it was a specific, kid, which is the opposite of what we had always pictured. Turns out she was right. So the moral of the story here is never doubt her. But the night before I got my test results, and I was feeling very impatient, refreshing that portal every day. The night before the results actually came in, because I woke up and they were there, I did have a dream that I opened up the results and I read them, and it was correct. It was what happened in the morning. So I'm 2 for 2 on dreams the night before being accurate. I don't know. How am I feeling so far? Everyone always wants to know specifically how was the first trimester, which is very infamous for being rough. Honestly, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling pretty normal, and the first trimester was really not that bad for me. I feel incredibly lucky. I know it could have been much, much worse. I think a lot of it boils down to either my family history or my partner's, because I've heard that the partner has a big impact on whether or not you get like morning sickness. So I did not. I had some nausea. I had some kind of nauseous days where I just kind of went like but I don't get sick ever. So I didn't get sick ever, and I had pretty normal like energy levels. I felt more fatigue like having PMS or periods than I did in the first trimester, really. Like a sleepy day here and there, sure, but overall pretty normal. No one had any idea because of how normal I felt and seemed. So it was good. A lot of people say the second trimester is when they feel much better and they feel much more like themselves, but for me it's like no change, because I already felt pretty good. The only thing is that I tire out very, very quickly. Like if I'm doing a workout, I get much more out of breath quickly. I get out of breath just like doing a normal 20-minute walk. I get very tired if I'm like I had a Halloween party a few days ago and I was out till 2 a.m. and then the next day I did okay, but then I did another social engagement the next day, and then that was a mistake, because the day after that I was like, oh, So I'm not, you know, at peak energy health, but other than that, I'm feeling very good. So who all knows? Pretty much everyone. I told my dad first. He was the first one to know, and then I told my grandmother after that. I started telling like close friends and other family after that, and now you guys. So this is really my like public announcement. I don't really use social media though, so I'm probably not going to post anything to social media. It's just telling you guys here. Can the pets tell? Everyone wants to know if my pets can tell that I'm pregnant. And I think yes and no. Leia, I don't think my dog knows at all. I don't think she understands anything is different and won't until we literally bring a baby home. In which case she's gonna freak out because she loves kids. So that's gonna be a bit of a challenge. Pippin, my youngest cat, also don't think he knows, don't think he cares. I anticipate that he's gonna be the one that like sits in all the babies' like furniture and stuff, and I'm gonna have to keep him out of it because he thinks he's a baby. He sits on the baby clothes, he lies on the baby blanket that I'm making. He is such a baby. I think it's gonna be hard for him to accept that he's not the baby anymore. But Marzipan, my oldest cat, now she's got a maternal instinct because she really mothered Pippin when he was a baby, and she had kittens before I adopted her, and I think she knows. She's gone from wanting to sit next to me a lot. Like, we have a little, I call it Mummy Marzi reading time, where I sit on the couch and she sits right next to me, pressed up against me, and I read and I pet her. It's very sweet. She doesn't want to do that anymore. Instead, I'm sitting on the couch and she sits by my head, like right here, like behind my head or like at my shoulder on the back of the couch. And I've always heard that cats think of you as their parent if they lie at your feet, and cats think of you as their baby if they sit at your head. So I think that she is mothering me now. I think she's feeling protective of me. It's so cute. And I think she will either be very sweet and mothering to the baby, or she's gonna hear that thing cry and she's gonna be like, I'm out, because she doesn't like loud noises, of course. I think she'll be the one who's like stays with me the most though, because she has so far. She's also gotten more and more and more snuggly and cuddly, but that could just be because more and more time has passed that we've had her, and she just continues to get more comfortable. So, do we have a name yet? So we have 2 names. We came up with names about 10 years ago. It was over 10 years ago, actually. It was before we got married. We came up with a boy and girl name that we liked, and we have always used casually when referring to our future children. But future theoretical children is very different from actual child. So when we found out the gender, we were like, oh, it's this name. And then we were like, do we want to use that name? And now we're not sure. It's so funny how you can think, you know, something for like 10 years and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know anymore. So I think we have several names in rotation now, and it might just be a thing of like, we have to look at the baby after they're born and be like, okay, you're a, you know, maybe. I don't like leaving things to last minute though, so realistically I will probably pick one, and then unless unless something really changes after they're born and I look at them, I'll probably use that name. However, I will not be sharing that name online, and I hope a lot of you, I'm sure you guys understand that. I will basically be protecting their privacy the best I can. So I'll probably think of another name to refer to the baby. I've already got one in mind, but it's kind of stupid. I'm thinking video game names, obviously. I'm thinking Skyrim names, but there's like, I can't do Skyrim. There's no good names in Skyrim. Well, no, I'm sorry. I should just say that they're very Scandinavian, and I think it would be a little weird if I gave my very non-Scandinavian baby, like, if I named them, you know, a super Nordic sounding name. So, probably not gonna do Skyrim. But there's a lot of other games I like. Baldur's Gate. Everyone wants to know, where will the nursery be? You're looking at it? Yes, I will be moving. I will be relocating my setup. This was always going to be temporary when we bought the house. So I'll be moving probably to my room and setting up a new little ASMR corner in there. It's actually quieter there than it is here, but here I have like one enclosed space, you know what I mean? Like, that room is bigger, so theoretically it's a bit more echoier, but it's also just quieter in general in that part of the house, so. But yeah, the plan has always been for this room to be the baby's room, and I don't know that they will. I ideally would like them to stay in our room for a while until they're old enough to need to be in their own room. So it might be a slow transition from, like, I might still be in this room even after the baby's born, you know what I mean? Am I showing yet? Oh yeah. No. No, there's no baby bump yet. There's like a baby bloat sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like really bloated. And I'm like, is that a baby bump? Is that the beginning of it? And the next day it's gone. I've been taking a picture of my stomach like every week, starting probably far too early. And yeah, there's like no difference. Sometimes it's just a food baby rather than a baby. But I really wasn't expecting to be showing by now. I have a very long torso. I'm just a long person in general. So they've got a lot of room in there, and it'll probably be another month or two before it's like really noticeable. Is the baby kicking yet? So we're in about the time frame when you do start feeling the baby movements. I haven't really felt anything yet, or anything that I can clearly define as being a baby, and not just like gas or just your stomach rumbling or something. So it's really hard to pinpoint. I did feel something weird a couple nights ago. Kind of felt like a tap. But it hasn't happened again, so I don't know if I could say if that was anything or not. But I asked my doctor at my last appointment, and he said 20 weeks. He said, wait till you'll feel something by 20 weeks, or you'll probably feel something about 20 weeks. And I'm like, that's so long from now. So, any cravings or aversions? No real cravings so far. Definitely nothing like weird. I do always really enjoy fruit, and I just really don't like eating sweet stuff anymore. That happened immediately. Like the day after I got a positive result, the next day I was like, I don't want anything sweet. I don't want dessert ever. It hasn't changed. So, aversions, sugar, which is for the best, really, because I had a horrific sweet tooth before this, always have, and it's gone. I kind of hope it stays that way because it's much better for me. But no real like cravings so far. Like, I have to have that. That sounds amazing. Yeah. Just more that food doesn't sound good. I also developed an aversion to salad. I used to have salad every day for lunch, and they started making me kind of gag. So I haven't had a salad in weeks. I make sure to get lots of other vegetables, but I just like don't eat salads anymore. Will I show the baby's face? No, again, as part of protecting their privacy, I really have to limit what is known / shown, which sucks. Like, I don't know. I love watching like baby content, honestly. But there are some very creepy people out there, and I've had a lot of run-ins with them. I think anyone online really has. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to protect their privacy. You can see like the back of the head, you know, I'm sure, or the shape, but we won't be doing close-ups of the face or real name or anything like that. And I'm sure you guys, you're so lovely and so supportive and sweet. I'm sure you all get it and you totally understand, and it's unfortunate that we have to do that, but in this day and era we have to protect kids the best we can, I think. So that's me trying to be the best mother I can be. Will baby be in future videos though? Maybe, because we can do like baby stuff without centering them in it and their face. I really love and watch a lot of Jessica Kilgren-Fozard's videos, especially the ones she's done with her wife Claudia and their baby, well, now babies, because they had twins recently, and they do such a great job of respecting their kids' like privacy regarding like face and all that, while still doing content talking about them. And so I think they're a good like role model for that. The best and worst parts of pregnancy. The worst parts, starting with the negative, has been like the anxiety that I felt in the early few weeks when I didn't really know what was going on down there, because you haven't had an ultrasound yet, and you haven't heard their heartbeat, and you don't know how many babies there are or if there are any, and it's just it was way more stressful than I actually thought it was going to be. So I really am really glad that that's done. Like, I'm glad the first trimester is over for that reason, and not because I was like throwing up or anything. But the best part is everything else. Like, just being so excited for the future. That's something that I have talked about and dreamed of and thought of for like a decade or more. Is becoming reality, is more than I could ever want. I feel so lucky and fortunate that I was able to get pregnant, and that it has been very easy. It just feels so lucky. It's just luck. I hope that I continue to have a safe and chill pregnancy and a safe and chill birth. I really hope everything stays calm and just uneventful. But yeah, doing the planning, the logistics, you know, making a little list of everything that I want to get or that the baby needs, researching, learning. I'd say like the education side has probably been my favorite. I do so much researching into like what is happening at every stage and like all the changes that happen to my body and them as they go from microscopic like tip of a pen size to babies now like I think like this big or so, something like that. The changes have been crazy. The human body is so cool. I love learning. That's really neat. And all the little milestones that you hit. Like, I know that the baby is just starting to be able to hear stuff, like things happening in my body, like my heartbeat and maybe some of my voice. So I've started like talking to them, and well, I was already kind of doing that and singing. I sing a lot anyway though. I'm gonna be like reading stories, and I hope to maybe like play some classical music. Either like I actually play it on the piano or like just playing a CD. We don't really have CDs, do we? That's very dated. You know, like checking off these milestones and every week seeing how big the baby's grown is so cool. I love it. So I love being pregnant. I really do. And I just feel lucky because there's loads of people that do set out to be pregnant and then they hate the journey and the experience of it, and I feel so bad because I'm so sorry. That sucks. I want everyone who wishes to be pregnant a very safe and uneventful pregnancy, you know. And then this one's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of redundant, but like how excited are we? And I think that anyone who sets out trying to have a child and then is able to get pregnant, I think you're all really excited, you know. But we are beyond excited. The future that, you know, we've always talked about is like it's not a theoretical anymore. It's next year. And it's the year after that. It's a bit scary, I think, when you've been with someone for so long, to move from like a family dynamic of 2 plus a bunch of animals to 3. That's a big shift. But because we have such a strong relationship and so much trust and support in each other, I think it's only going to make us better. And I think you have to have a very very strong relationship for that to be the case, because kids don't fix things, they make things harder. So it's only because I trust him so much, and he's so supportive of me and helpful and such an amazing dad already, that I know, yeah, it'll be, I'm not gonna say easy, but you know, doable. Yeah. So I think that's I've just rambled forever. There's like a million more things I'm sure I could say, but I don't need to. I made it through my little outline of everything, and you've seen all my clips that I've been filming over the weeks. So wish us luck, I guess, and you'll hear from us eventually. It's nice to be able to actually talk about the baby at this point without feeling like I'm keeping a huge part of my life secret from you all, which I have been doing. For a really long time. No, it's nice to be, it's all out there, and you know. So things will be changing next year a little bit, but not a lot. Like I said, I've got my maternity leave videos all planned out, and I'm actually already over a quarter done with them. I'm a little bit more, technically, I think, of 25%, or I will be after this week, after I make another. so I'm on good track there. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing, and thank you to anyone who became a channel member or Patreon because of this, or visited my PayPal or whatever. And I look forward to sharing more of this journey with you in the future. For now, night night and bye bye from me